Welcome to The Bank is Open, presented by Pickett Sports and Boom Fantasy, breaking down the night in NBA. I think we're going to mix in some college later in the show. NicLarson, Brian versus the Books, BradThomas. What's going on, boys?
And having fun talking sports. Like, what could be better?
I agree. I just realized as you were saying that, next show we have to decide who goes first when he says that because it's always this awkward like 3 seconds. So
I do
next
it on
time we
purpose.
do
I don't
this,
say anything on purpose. Though. I just
yeah, we all do this waiting thing. So next time we'll have an order and we'll go in that. But I'm doing great. I think this would be a kind of a fun slate to watch. Small slate, but there is a few games I think would be kind of fun to watch.
Yeah, it's probably, I could probably play point guard better. Usually when I ask questions, I point it to somebody specifically for that reason, so you avoid the awkward pause. I was watching First Take the other day, and the host, whoever it was, didn't direct it to anybody, and there was like 10, 15 seconds of them tripping over each other back and forth. I was like, that's why I always point it to somebody. So good note by you, Brian. Excellent work as always. Nick, what's going on, man?
hey, we're here. Clippers are playing. What could be better?
Are they, though? Are we sure?
I mean, the team is. I don't know who's playing. I can't help you out there.
What do we got? 5 games tonight. Before we get to the games, NBA MVP, just because Embiid, I think, with a statement performance the other day. It was during Saturday, right? It was on Saturday against the Nuggets, so maybe people are watching college basketball. Maybe it got lost with the football, but Embiid, just a monster performance. The odds have shifted. It is Jokic even money, Embiid plus 225. Then you have Luka 4-1, Tatum 10-1, Giannis 12-1, which might be a little buy low spot. Then Ja 30-1, Curry 45-1. Anyone after that, you could probably just save your money. Brian, since it's Philly, since it's your team, your story here, I'll let you start here. Is this too late to buy an Embiid plus 225? Is this worth it at this price?
Yeah, I think I saw some places yesterday that had 260-ish or 270-ish, but
Well, it's
then
not
it kind of
yesterday,
dropped a bit
so
more. I'm just saying, like that was even that I didn't think was like
yeah.
super worthwhile. I actually just recently took stock at plus 1,000 on them, so I had a free $25 bet, so it would be like a 2.5 unit win. And it was actually funny. Part of the reason I wanted to buy stock with him like a week or two ago is actually because of this game on Saturday. Because I was thinking if he can get that win, uh, against the Nuggets. That always goes a deep. For some reason, the MVP voting, they love to look at that. They love to look at like who you beat. Like if Luka is say 1-6 against these three MVP candidates, it's always something that's weighted on. But I do think there is value in terms of like him at that price that I got for sure. But I don't know about you, but if he does score 34 points per game and he keeps his rebounds over 10, it's a tough case to deny if they get that 1 or 2 seed with the center scoring 34 points. That would just be kind of unheard of to average over the course of a season.
Yeah, I mean, Jokic's numbers are still just off the charts, especially the advanced ones, and he's probably going to get a 1 or 2 seed too. But I think all things being equal, they'll probably, like if it's a tie, they won't want to give it to him for the third straight time. Although I think that's sort of diffused a little bit, where people are just sort of over it, like, hey, he's the best player, we'll give him the award. So there's less pushback than I thought there would be. But I don't know that I would jump in at this price. Brad, any thoughts on MVP market at the moment?
No, I'm sitting on a Jokic ticket, and I'm just gonna pray that gets there. Like, do we think they're gonna give the MVP 3 straight seasons to a player? I don't know. I think we should talk about this 6 Man of the Year market, though. Like, the pricing's really moved. I think even since our last conversation.
Jump in, yeah, because I do have one last thought on MVP, but jump in.
Go ahead, no, go ahead, and then we'll get to that.
I got MVP too.
Go ahead, Nick.
You guys are sleeping on my guy Giannis.
100%. That's exactly what I was going to say.
I mean, you're saying Embiid beat the Nuggets or whatever. I mean, Giannis, since he's been back for his injury, 33-14, 41-12, and 50-13. So
couldn't agree more. And they're starting to play a little better. It's an easy.
Yeah,
they got
Middleton back. Yep.
Yeah, they're getting healthier. It's an easier part of the schedule. We saw they did this last year where it's like, oh man, are they going to lose the division? They were 4 or 5 games behind the Bulls. I think they were in third at some points, and then they just cruised past everybody and won the division. So still a lot of basketball to be played.
Just the value alone plus 1,200 is tough.
I agree. If I had $100 to bet on any of these guys, I think you missed. Like it's not even about who you bet; it's about when you bet them. Like Brian said, if you bet Embiid a week ago 10-1, great bet. If you bet him at 2-1 today, I don't love it.
And
I think Giannis 12-1's in the mix.
Maybe he's 900 plus 900 a week. You don't. That's the other thing is that just because you think you missed the boat doesn't mean you can maybe cycle around or whatever it was. Because yeah, exactly. And the most important boat is actually a friendship. that's bigger than a boat, but that's a side thing.
All right, we're gonna cut Brian's mic for the next half hour or so because of that one.
I was trying to see where he was going with that. I was like, oh man, maybe he's making some dots connect or something. But
Yeah, we can edit that part out, hopefully.
Yeah, I've just been sniffing.
Oh shoot!
All right, what were we gonna go, Brad? 6th man of the year.
I just think it's like crazy. Like, look at the price of what Russell Westbrook. Like, he was like a -200 favorite. Brogdon went from I think it was like +400 to like +140. I actually think that Tyrese Maxey has pretty good value at +600. Now that he's in that bench role, he's averaging about 14.5 points per game, but he's also contributing to wins, not just out there scoring points. And then you get a little bit of value coming off the board, like when you look at Jordan Poole's now in the starting lineup. Indy's finally doing their free fall. Maybe Powell, like, you know how I kind of track like success for players? I kind of just like see how they're doing in terms of their player props. Like if their point player props or their assist player props start to creep up more, I'm like, wow, books are really valuing them pretty high. And like I just see Norman Powell. He was at like, I don't know, like 12.5 points. Now he's like consistently like 18.5. I'm like, oh, they're valuing him a lot more.
Yeah, I was also giving Dwight Powell a look, so I agree with that. For 6th man of the year, if he gets that bench role when Christian Wood gets back, so I tend to agree with Dwight Powell's value.
I don't even see Dwight Powell here on DraftKings. Do you guys see him?
I'm pretty sure he's talking about Norman Powell, but I just took.
I was talking about Norman Powell.
Yeah, all right.
He was talking a joke, and I was waiting to see for some odds. I was like, man, maybe Chris Wood takes the starting job, and that's something we don't know about.
I'm just a big Dwight Powell stan account. I'm sorry.
I had Powell before the season. I thought that ticket was dead. I agree. I'd be looking to fade somebody other than fade Westbrook here, fade the top of the leaderboard because
you have to fade Westbrook.
Yeah, I don't know that his team's going to win enough. I think we saw this with Coach of the Year in NFL. Sometimes these markets don't match the voters' opinion. Sometimes these guys are just guessing as much as anybody, which creates a lot of value. Where it's like all year Sirianni was the favorite. It's like, guess what? Sirianni's not even one of the finalists. That leaves value somewhere. Just a matter of finding where it is.
Yeah, the only issue with Norman Powell is that how often is he going to be 6th man with everyone missing? He's got to start a lot more, and they don't ever play.
Right. He's a starter in like 75% of the games.
I don't think they'd give it to a rookie. I don't think they'd give it to Mathurin, who's up there at 18-1.
No.
Poole at 60-1. Is that terrible? Probably not. I would flip-flop Brogdon. I just don't think Westbrook should be the favorite. I don't think he'd win it. So
yeah.
Anything else award-wise before we get to the games?
No, I just one more point on Mathurin is like he's been starting too. Like it's one of those things where you kind of have to like watch these players and watch the team, see like what's been happening. Teams that start to make runs late too normally have really good chances with their 6th man of the year.
Totally agree. All right. I think we can move on to the games here. First and gold, Pickett Sports, Boom Fantasy. Check them both out. Cavs are laying 4 against the Heat. We've seen this line move around a little bit. Nick, start us off. Cavs, Heat. What do you got? And you guys jump in with any same game parlays you have when I tee up on these games. Nick, Cavs and Heat.
I got to play on this game. Darius Garland assists. He has had 9+ in 7 of his last 8 games. I took it on DraftKings like a little parlay to lower his over 6.5 with 2 Mitchell threes. The Heat are terrible defending the 3 against guards. So I parlayed that to get the juice down on that. And then I took the over 7.5 on DraftKings as well, +120, and then laddered the rest of it on FanDuel. I just think it's a good spot for him. Just hit the first rung and see what he can go from there. 7 is not very many asking from him. I don't know who the Heat would even have on him. If it's going to be, I'm assuming probably Hero is on Mitchell and Lowry on him maybe. So I just like it. I like this matchup for him. I don't have anything sidewise in this game. That's my only play for this game.
I like that. I believe he had how many? Did he have 7 last game against them?
Yeah, he had 7 last game against them.
Yeah. So now, he's gonna have at least 17 now. This is. I actually agree with Nick, which is actually last time we agreed. Did it go well? I forget.
Yeah, it was the Tatum. It was the Tatum when his full ladder hit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So last time we agreed, it did work out. But I actually am playing a different angle on that because sometimes I like to have these correlated same game parlays in terms of as me and Nick were talking earlier, Darius Garland's assist is a great spot against the Heat. Who's going to pass to? And that's where I kind of mix in his 6 assists with Evan Mobley, 12 plus points, minus 115 on DraftKings. And that's one of those looks where I do like Garland's assist straight up, but I also like Mobley's a point straight up. And quick math will tell you that Garland has 6 more assists in 88% of games. Mobley has 12 points in 74% of games. Fair non-correlated odds in this parlay should be around minus 170. So if you factor in the correlation of this 2-man game of Garland and Mobley, I think minus 115 to steal. Honestly, I would play it up to like minus 140. That's how much I kind of see the odds in favor of this actually being a plus EV play. And last time Mobley played against the Heat, he had 19 and 15. And you talk about Bam Adebayo being this great defender, but he usually takes that center, which would be mostly Jared Allen. So he finds a lot of those secondary points, offensive rebounds, and just overall like better scoring opportunities over Jared Allen. So I think it's a great look.
Yeah, I didn't have a pick from a side or a total perspective in this one. I was looking, maybe Jared Allen double here. It's been quite a while since what have been like 3 games since we got a Jared Allen double, and we're getting plus money for it, sitting pretty much on his average. But you'd have to imagine you're getting pretty good value at plus 130. I don't think he's going to have one of those big monster rebound games. I know Nick likes to do the ladders, but at this price, it's something that I'm probably interested in there.
All right. Anything else before we move on this one? Knicks load managed their guys yesterday. AD wasn't going to play back-to-backs. They wanted LeBron ready for this one. They didn't want to call it load management, so they gave him some fake injury. And he has gotten over the call in Boston. He's going to be in the Garden tonight. First time he's played there since January of 2020, I think I saw. So he's been putting up some big numbers. Lakers have actually played well in certain spots. Interesting game. Knicks laying 2. Brad, what do you got here? Knicks and the Lakers.
Yeah, my computer froze. But I have Anthony Davis. I believe that's over 21.5 points. He's finally playing. And me as an Anthony Davis owner in fantasy, I was pretty excited that he didn't play yesterday because I thought this would be the game that they're going to want to win, the game that they're going to play a little bit more up for more. And this is Anthony Davis, who was averaging well over 24.5 points when he was healthy. And now he's back. He looked solid till he hurt himself. So I think this is kind of like a buy low spot for Anthony Davis. I didn't really care about the side because I just saw so many people, and I try like so hard as a sports bettor and a handicapper not to be on social media all day while people are posting their plays because I just kept seeing everyone talk about LeBron James 30 plus, LeBron James 30 plus, LeBron James 30 plus, and it kind of like made me not like Anthony Davis as much. So I was trying not to like cloud myself and like cloud my judgment on that. But with people saying that, I don't think this is going to be a blowout because LeBron, LeBron is going to be going after this record. LeBron's going to be playing very well. So I think anytime I have a point for a guy who's been injured and they have blowout protection, it's something that you kind of want to get down and bet with.
I think they said he's expected to start now too, Davis.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah, he is. Oh, Oaks is actually in here in the side, which is awesome. But I was going to say is our sponsors at Pickett Sports did make a post earlier about LeBron James. 117 points, 2 break records. So do you guys think he hits that today or?
Might as well go for that.
Game would have to go to overtime.
That and Wilt at the same time.
Yeah, he might need 6 or 7 overtimes, but I think if you can find a book that offers over 116.5 all odds, it's worth a look.
I know we talked about the LeBron 30 and 10 game, but kind of does like go down a little with AD playing.
Yeah, I'm one of the people who took the bait. I'm laddering him and Brunson. Brunson has a super good matchup against the Lakers. They're terrible against point guards. Second most points, 27 a game. They're giving up to opposing point guards. So I took him and Brunson. The first leg is Brunson 20, LeBron 25, and then I took that up to Brunson 35, LeBron 40 in case both of them go off. But I don't know. I just think LeBron's one of those guys who loves the scripted stuff, and everyone knows he sat out yesterday for this game, and it's in Madison Square Garden and how the last game ended. I think he's going to come out fired up, and we'll see. I just don't know who on the Knicks can guard him. I mean, they just have a bad it's. We were talking earlier. It's probably got to be Randall, right? Because they start basically 3 guards, and then Robinson's out, so they'll start Sims and Randall. So Sims will be on AD. I just don't think Randall's a good matchup against LeBron. So hopefully he goes off like everyone else needs him to. And I have one more play in this game, but I'll wait till we get to the Bucks game because it's combined with that.
All right, we can go right there. Bucks are laying 11 against the Hornets. Like we said, Bucks playing a lot better, getting healthier. Soft part of the schedule. It's all sort of coming together here for the Bucks. So Nick, take it away. Bucks minus 11.
Yeah, I have Westbrook and LaMelo assist ladder. I really like this now that Davis is going to be playing more minutes here. Westbrook's assists shoot way up with Davis in the lineup. Westbrook not shooting as much, facilitating. He's got lobs to Davis. And then, like we talked about before the show, also the Hornets play the Bucks really well for some reason, especially LaMelo. I think he had 12 or 14 assists last time they played. So I took both of them from 6 each, which is minus 117. And then if they both go crazy at 12 each is plus 8,700. So I took them from 6 to 12 on the ladder as well.
Sadly enough, this is another spot where Nick and I actually agree, where I actually do think the last spot for, we mentioned a little bit about LaMelo Ball, and he had 12 assists against them last time out, and I kind of harped on this before on the show, but when you watch the Milwaukee Bucks, they do play really good defense, and one of the things they do really well on guys like LaMelo Ball that like to drive to the hoop is they're really good at collapsing on that to either force the issue on a kick out, because obviously you'd rather live with a kick out than, drive to the basket, slam dunk. And they also help force the issues for guys like Mason Plumlee down lower, this or that. So the one play I'm on is LaMelo Ball's over 13.5 RA. So if you didn't want to do, a crazier ladder like Nick is, you want something kind of quote unquote safer, got at minus 108 on FanDuel. And this kind of gives you a little bit of comfort where LaMelo Ball is so good in all assets of this, like of the game. So it can kind of save you if he has a big rebound night or a big assist night. So I do like the combo there where he actually is averaging a little over 10 rebounds a game and a little over 15 assist chances per game. This over-under is 244. So there should be plenty of chances for him to try to rack it up, whether it's rebounds or assists.
How about Ball over 3.5 threes minus $1.30-ish?
I like that a lot too.
I like that.
That's another good one, because as I mentioned earlier, I mean they limit those drives. They will live with people out on the perimeter, making they want you to beat you in that way. They don't want you to beat you like right in the paint, especially even with Bobby Portis out. It's even I think it's even more Brook Lopez minutes, which will force the issue more to get people to kick it out.
I think I'm gonna 7 against them earlier in the season. So yeah, I think that's a.
And he still went under his points. He went under his total that game.
Really?
His over-under was 24.5. He scored 7 threes, but still scored 24 points.
Wow, that is hard. That is really that's hard to do.
Because that was actually on the show we did that, Will, and that game I took his 4 threes and his under in points, and I was kind of in a weird position after he hit the 4th. I was like, all right, that's enough from you, LaMelo, and he just kept making them.
Yeah, I think I'm going to play that one. Our favorite team, the Clippers, are in Chicago. They punted the game on Sunday, so you figure they'll play their guys here. Laying 2.5, I think minus 135 against the Bulls on the money line. I'm actually going to end up playing the Clippers here. I just think they're a much better team. They played better the last week or so. Granted, they gave away a game on Sunday, so I actually do like the Clippers here. Nick, where are you at here, Clippers and Bulls?
Did you say you like the Clippers, and you said that in a sentence?
I like the Clippers tonight. Hey, man, I'm a bettor. I'm not biased. I just think as a fan that what they do to the league is a little ridiculous, and they act like they won 1 million titles and punt on all these games, but I think this is a good spot for them.
Yeah, this is the only game I actually don't have a play for. I thought about Vucevic here, but I just can't figure out what I would play. I think Brad might have something on that. I'm not sure. No.
I feel like every time I bet Vucevic, the next game is he hits the prop that I need.
Exactly.
And it's like not a good matchup, and he hits the prop, and I'm like, why, man? Why?
Yeah, I just can't figure him out right now, and I can't figure out Drew Holiday right now. Like, they'll score 140 points and he has 6 assists, and then I don't take his assists and he has 12 the next game. So
And they only score 103. Yeah,
Yeah.
like they score like no points, but he gets all the assists. Yeah.
Yep. I'm just gonna stay away from this one.
Do we have a same game parlay we need to circle back to?
Yeah, I was gonna circle back to because we talked a lot about LaMelo Ball, but I kind of forgot that this is the game I do have my same game parlay if Eli wants to put it up. As you can see there, it's actually I used a free bet because I guess I stopped using my one FanDuel account and they kept feeding me like these deposit matches, so I'm just kind of using it for shits and giggles. But it's plus 330. I mean 330. It's plus 534, and we kind of mentioned a lot about LaMelo Ball, and as we talked about earlier with me and Will. The last matchup, I think, is very similar. Where in this, I have Giannis 30 points. I mean, that one's mostly just a Mason Plumlee matchup. Giannis is looking a lot healthier. But what I did mix in there is I took LaMelo Ball's under 27.5 points, which he's in most of the games. He's over that 1 or 2 games the entire season. But I did add in his 3+ threes, and that reverse correlation kind of gives you a nice boost on the odds. I think there's a legit chance he hits 5 threes without going over his 24 set line, let alone 27, because he's taken a lot of 3-point volume. And I guess since returning his injury, his 3-point volume has been crazy. And then the last 2 legs to round out this 5-leg parlay is his over 6.5 assists and his over 5.5 rebounds. I mean, 4.5 rebounds. So it kind of builds into the 13.5 RA I had, but I did mix in the fact that I think he'll have trouble scoring, but he will still probably attempt 8 to 12 threes, and I think he can make 3 of them, but still not score 28 points.
All right, makes sense. Final game or anything else on that one before we move on?
No, I think Giannis scores a ton of points.
Yeah,
But, like,
I do.
He only played a few minutes last time they played, and they got embarrassed against the Hornets. So I think like you said, I think Giannis goes off again.
Yeah, I have such a hard time like taking like a 34, 35 point line.
It's
though.
tough because
Yeah,
I felt really weird. We talked about earlier, but when Embiid played Jokic, I took his over 33.5, and I laddered it to 40, where I took 40 plus, but it was plus 390, and I just felt so gross about it. Even though like he went off and he had a great spot, he scored 47. It just feels weird to take a guy to score say 40 points at below plus 400.
It's so
But
tough
that's
too
kinda,
because when you see 40 points, you're thinking in your head, shoot, he's got to score 10 points every quarter.
yeah, like he's
Yeah.
gotta be on your game to score 40. Because if you take a guy to score,
well, I did take LeBron 40. I feel like that was a mandatory one.
yeah, no, I agree, but it's just so crazy that right now the clip that some guys are scoring at, it just
Yeah.
makes you kind of feel disgusted to think you're taking guys to score 40 points for under plus 400. And it's like, how is that real?
Final game here: Denver hosting the Pelicans. The Pelicans have, quietly here. Remember, they were the early season darlings. They have quietly slipped into playing range where they might be back in this position where they're fighting to get in. They never have their full team. They're talented, but they're always injury riddled. Getting 6.5 in Denver. Brad, Nuggets, Pelicans. Who do you like? Who you got?
Oh man, Nuggets, Pelicans. This one's tough. I lean the Nuggets here. The Nuggets are tough, just so hard to play at altitude. And they're setting the line at 6.5. I just feel like these basketball lines are 6.5 to 8. Like I told you guys the last time, is either the team's going to lose the game outright or they're going to win by double digits. And what was the last game? That was Knicks versus Celtics. Knicks versus Celtics, and the Knicks won outright, I believe. But I think it's just so hard, and it's so hard to play at altitude, especially with the pace that the Pelicans play. Give me Denver. I didn't take any props here. I'm always kind of like on the verge of taking Murray's props, but I didn't take anything for this game.
Nick, anything for you here?
Yeah, I got one prop play, and then I have my same game parlay. So I have McCollum ladder of assists 5.5 plus 116 up to 10 assists is plus 1100. The Nuggets allow the second most assists to point guards, and then Ingram being back helps his assists as well. Just a good spot for him against this Nuggets team. And then for that same game parlay, let me pull it up here. All right, I've got the walking triple-double. I only took double-double for him. Just the 10 rebounds, 10 assists from Joker, 4 assists, McCollum, and then Porter Jr. over 2.5 threes. Pelicans struggle giving up 3 balls. Porter's been hitting them lately. I think he's hitting 4 out of his last 5. So I really like this one. I think it's really going to come down to Porter Jr. Joker's pretty safe with his rebounds, assists. I think McCollum will get 4 assists at least. I think it just comes down to MPJ at the 3-point line.
Yeah, someone in the chat mentioned that McCollum has been horrendous, so it filters into the fact he's going to need to pass more, so he doesn't break any more shots. So that goes into that goes hand in hand with your play there.
Can't miss if you don't shoot.
I mean, you'd rather go 0 for 30 over 9 because it means you lost confidence, right?
Do you have anything
I
on
don't
this
know
one,
what
Brian?
horrendous. I don't know horrendous, but
I'm reporting from the chat. That's my goal here. I'm only hired because I have my little phone
he scored
up here.
25 points a game this month, so.
All right, listen, Nick. No, to answer your question, well, I don't have anything that's game. This is a fun game. This is gonna be one of those games where I'll probably bet personally if I'm having a good night and I'll find something. But I did want to mention this. If you do have DraftKings, they do have this free bet every day. Like if you opt in to get $10 bet, and if you lose, you get it back as a free bet. Just letting you guys know, if you take LaMelo Ball parlayed with Jokic triple doubles, it's 10 to win 440. So I did take that. I did take the triple double 2-leg 10 to win $440. So not lock, but I mean,
I think we have to take it now.
I had that. Yeah. I literally had that in my bet slip and then added LeBron to it as well.
Oh boy, really? I'm just saying. Yeah. I mean, I don't. I think it's if your unit is. I think it's all depending on your unit. We talked about that with Brad before. But if you have say like $100 unit, which is what my unit is, which I'm pretty open about. But if it's $10 to 0.1 unit, I think if you get the $10 back as a free bet, it gives you a little bit more options to take those risks. So I did use it on Ball and Jokic triple doubles tonight.
All right. Before we move on here to college basketball, we do have a Super Bowl. We have 1 game left. Lines bounced around. It started with the Chiefs as a favorite. Eagles swung to the Eagles, sort of like the Cincy KC game, where it's ping pong back and forth. I think we've settled where Philly's now minus 1.5 points. I want somebody unbiased, so I'll start with you, Brad. Where are you at with this game? Have you made any bet side total? Obviously, the props will be, very prevalent here over the next week or so, and that's maybe where the value is. But what are your first leans here for the Super Bowl?
I'll say that I made chicken wings for the last set of games, and I didn't get it. I took the Eagles. We talked about that, but I was going to make the teaser with San Fran, and I didn't get to because the game started while I was cooking my chicken wings, and I totally forgot. So the chicken wings saved me money. For this game, I'm gonna probably side with the Eagles here. Like everyone wants to say, believe in Mahomes. He's so amazing, but this Eagles defense is legit. And I think it's funny because people do this in sports and it's just become even more prevalent, like in the social media age, where people discredit people's success for winning. Their asterisk championship, or, oh, they had the easiest road to get to the Super Bowl. Oh, they played nobody. We have to remember these are NFL teams. They're playing the same amount of games as everyone else, and the Eagles were winning by margin. I think the Eagles defense is legit. What I love about the Eagles defense is their pass defense. When you have a tough pass defense, it makes the pass rush that much better. And so I think Mahomes is going to be under fire a lot. It's going to take a lot for him to stand up against a Eagles pass rush that's going to be in his face a lot. And I don't think Mahomes played all that great in the Cincy game. It's that front. It's Jones getting to Burrow a lot. You're not going to get to Jalen Hurts like you got to Burrow. So I think the Eagles win their first Super Bowl with Jalen Hurts. Man, and talk about if they do. The rebuild, would it take only 5 years? Holy smokes. Hopefully it doesn't take that long for Tampa Bay and we rebound and we win next year's Super Bowl.
Eagles are absolutely loaded. They're just
they are.
The roster, skill players, both offensive line. They are just a stacked team and they're cap friendly. I mean, they've done a hell of a job. That being said, and it's not to discredit who you play. That wasn't a real game the other day. First of all, they got 7 free points right off the bat with this idiot Shanahan, who everybody loves, not challenging. And then, and the Eagles are false starting left and right, the right tackle. And then they're like they lose all their quarterbacks. So I mean, they really what's their best win this year? I think that is a fair question. Say, hey, now you're playing Mahomes. Who's your best win? You beat the Lions, you beat the Cowboys without Dak, you beat the 49ers, putting McCaffrey quarterback. So I do think
But
it's fair to question that.
you could also argue they, no matter who was in front of them, it's not like they squeaked by. That's my
I mean,
only
they
argument.
squeaked by the Colts. They lost to Washington.
But the Colts beat the Chiefs, so
Colts beat the Chiefs.
Yes.
No, I agree. I'm just trying to get
So
to
the
a
Colts
fair
really are the best team in the league. If you think
Colts are
about
the
it.
best team in the
Like,
league.
that's
I mean, that is a
actually-
strange result when you look back and I think they beat the Chiefs. That's a strange result.
Yeah, I will say I tried to keep my bias, despite the Eagles blazer I have on, away from my analysis. But I do think my thing that's interesting is it's one of those things where the Bengals were actually like Super Bowl favorites coming into the conference championship, and if you, like it's one of those things where they beat the Ravens without
Right.
Lamar Jackson on like a miracle fumble,
Yep.
and they were everyone's darling, and then the Eagles
100%.
outscore they outscore their opponents 69-14 in 2 games, and it's like, oh, they're frauds. So it's like this is like
I haven't heard anybody call them
tangent.
fraud. I haven't heard anybody call.
I've heard a lot. That's all
That's
I've
not
heard.
a fair term. I haven't heard anybody call them frauds. I think just
Yeah,
people
so
are
I guess my thing is that whatever happens. I think it's gonna be a great game, but I do think it's one of those things where, I think it's tough to discredit a team that with a lot of talent just because they're blowing teams out of the wall. Like if they squeak by, then that's one thing. But yeah, my biggest worry with the Philadelphia Eagles is that they haven't had that adversity the last 2 weeks where they're up 30 by halftime, where you kind of want them to have that
Right.
brush of adversity to kind of step up in a big spot. So that's my only worry is I feel like you would kind of want them to have that game-winning drive or something to chips are down. But
I would throw one more concern in there for Philly. I don't think Hurts looked great the other day throwing the ball. He really didn't run a lot. He didn't run
shoulder looked
effectively.
bad.
Yeah, and I just don't think, and he took a nasty hit later in the game where
Which was so stupid.
It was. They didn't need to do anything. They didn't need to throw the ball in the second half.
You didn't even throw the ball, and why are you running the ball with Hurts? Like,
right.
You're watching a team who has a quarterback who can't throw the ball, who
right.
physically can't. Why aren't you just running the ball? I didn't get that. Like me as a person who wants to invest in a team in the future, like I want to invest in the Eagles Super Bowl. I need 100% Jalen Hurts. I can't be having this man taking late shots.
I think the fact that we get 2 weeks of rest will really help both teams with alien quarterbacks. But yeah, that shoulder needs to be fixed. And I think my bet that I might take in this game is I might lean on Dallas Goedert stock because he missed some deep shots to AJ Brown and that Devontae Smith catch.
I know
that he first off. I think it's funny that that's a defining moment of the game, obviously. But I mean, how do you not challenge that? That's a big play. I almost
at least call timeout and see if you have to challenge it. I know you don't want to just burn a flag early, a challenge early, but call timeout, look it over. That was bad. And who knows? Not to get too deep here, but who knows? Butterfly effect. If that is ruled incomplete, maybe the play sequences are different. Maybe Purdy never gets hurt. Who knows?
Yeah.
So that's a terrible job.
So I will say I think that's going to help, but I will look at Dallas Goedert stock. Because there was a play last week where Hayden Hurst found a seam for like a 23-yard catch. And my first thought watching that game was if Dallas Goedert finds a similar seam, that might not go for 23 yards. That might go for a cashing is over 44.5 on one play. So I think that's a good look for that game is Dallas Goedert.
Nick, anything to add here? Super Bowl?
Nope. I'm not betting on the Eagles. Give me Mahomes.
There is something to be said where, hey, to me, it's a dead even game. Philly's got the much better roster. Casey has Mahomes. All things being equal, if you can get me 2 points, I guess I'll just take the 2 points. Probably going to be more value on the props.
So I'm going to deflect this to Nick, who's been kind of quiet. But in the chat, we have someone that says that Jalen Hurts, it's not his arm injury, which I think his shoulder injury is a big part of how he's looked the last 2 weeks. But they said that he's a glorified game manager, Alex Smith type player. So I was very, very hesitant coming in about Jalen Hurts, but I think he's kind of proved this year that as much as he has been that use his leg guy, that one throw to AJ Brown that he overthrew him, I think I see him and Brown connect on that about 98% of the time. So I do think his shoulder is a little bit concerning, but you've been a little quiet. So I want to hear your thoughts on the Alex Smith versus Jalen Hurts comparisons.
I thought you were throwing it to me for the AJ Brown miss because I needed that catch so
Oh,
bad.
we both
I
needed
did
that
too.
ladder. I
Oh,
took his
man.
100+, and I thought we were gonna cash in that play
And we'll
in the
play
air.
it.
I did one of those this in the air, and then I was like, oh.
As far as the question, I don't know how. Like, I've gotten into so many arguments with people this year, some of my friends, about Lamar Jackson for that reason too. And then I'm like, I don't know how you can call guys like that a game manager, who can take over the game. Like, Hurts can take over the game running if he needs to. I mean, he's not going to be Aaron Rodgers passing the ball, or I don't know, name who you want, Herbert or whoever you want to call him passing the ball. He can get it done, but I mean, he's not a game. I wouldn't call him a game manager. A game manager is someone who's in there to, I feel like, not to lose the game rather than to win the game for you. So I wouldn't consider him a game manager at all.
All right. Anything else on this before we get to a little college hoops?
No, I think that was a good
Oh,
discussion.
I'll say I agree 100% that we find these terms, and it happens with not even just sports, with everything. Like when we talk about something like gaslighting, we say one term, game manager, system quarterback, and we try to just apply it to every single athlete or every single thing. It's just so overused. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I'm with you. So I guess we could just move on. Pickett Sports, Boom Fantasy. This is The Bank is Open. Let's talk a little college basketball. Somebody who wanted to have on for a while. Somebody who does a great job covering college basketball. It is Burrows. Burrows, what's going on, man? Do we have Burrows?
What's good, Will? It's been a minute since we talked, man.
It has.
What's going on, man? How we doing today?
All is well. I think this is the time of year. Once the conference championships end, people who are go ahead.
I had to run and go put on a nicer shirt. Oh my bad. I had a little lag. I had to run and go put on.
Brian, why'd you fuck up his audio?
I was over here sending text messages.
Honestly, I was texting Broke, and he was saying some bullshit about how Jalen Hurts is basically like a poor man's Jamarcus Russell, and I was like, all right, that's it. We can't have him on the show.
Well, listen. All right, since this is a good topic, since everyone's here and we're not talking about the next game, I'm in a fantasy league, point system, right? I sent a trade, Sadiq Bey and Harrison Barnes for DeJounte Murray. Would you veto that, or would you let it ride?
Say it one more time.
Harrison Barnes and Sadiq Bey in a points league for DeJounte Murray. I was getting text messages saying I was colluding, but I told the guy I'm sending what I think is fair. He needed a lot of depth on his team.
I'm not a veto guy. I think if both owners paid their money, if it's a fair deal, if nobody's really trying to get over and try to collude, I'm all for, what, you manage your team how you do it. I would pass it.
I would. I mean, yeah, I think for you to veto in any kind of league, whether it's football, basketball, anything, it has to be like really horrendous. Like I feel like it has to be like it has to be something crazy for me to, like, as a league manager, to like veto something. Like one time we had a fantasy football league and someone traded like Derrick Henry for like a kicker and something else because he got hammered, and he gave the guy like $30, and everyone was like, yeah, that's not gonna fly. Like it's gotta be something like that.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. Unless it's like sometimes you have the dude in like last place who's just trying to stir stuff up or something like that.
Right. Like yeah, exactly. I think if it's fair, both teams if it's on a level, I'm okay with it. Do we have Baroque's back?
Can we test his audio / his McDonald's Boost Mobile Wi-Fi he's got? He's actually
Baroque,
recording.
What's going on, man? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I mean, I can hear you, Brian. At least I'm always at my joint and not at my girlfriend's house, my girlfriend's parents' house, my girlfriend's friend's house. doing shows from everywhere. So at least I'm in my studio.
Brian, do you care to respond? We're gonna give Brian a rebuttal here, but
Can you hear me? Okay, I was turned off because mostly I was turned off after seeing Baroque in that shirt. But overall, I think that I'm a nomad where I'm able to adapt as I need to. So sometimes I do shows when I'm on the move because it's a little better, but with my life and how I travel. But even when I did that show that was very cut off, we never had to like directed away from me because I could still at least finish the sentence. So I think we made progress there.
all right, Burrows, let's get into some college hoops. I feel like with the conference championships ending in football, this is a time where people who aren't maybe paying attention to college start to shift over to it. We're 6 weeks away from March Madness, maybe even closer if you count the conference tournaments. Just give everyone a little brief sort of update if you haven't been paying attention. Like, is it a year where there's a dominant team? It doesn't seem like it. Is a year where it's a lot of parity. Just give us like a minute or two, just general thoughts of your college basketball.
Yeah, I mean, early in the season, UConn definitely looked like the most complete team. They've had some struggles here recently. Big 12, or I'm sorry, the Big East is a war zone. Big East, Big 12, two best conferences in college basketball, in my opinion. They're clearly after the SEC Big 12 showdown, you can see that the SEC is still miles behind the Big 12, and in my opinion, the Big East as well. Tennessee is playing absolutely great basketball. Defense travels. So I love Tennessee. They absolutely smother people. It's hard to breathe against them. My problem is they struggle to score points some nights, and that can obviously be an issue. I really, Alabama's good. They have problems on the road. Creighton, I know you jumped in on them after they got, what's his name, the giant center back. Creighton's playing great basketball right now. They got a lefty that can shoot ridiculous from the outside when he gets hot. You got like 75-1 on that. I really liked that number. And then Kansas, Grady Dick, they got a huge one tonight. I think Marquette is playing great ball as well, especially up there in Wisconsin. Everybody knows it's insanely difficult to go on the road and get a win in Marquette. I also watched them play a double overtime game in Providence that went well over 100 points for each team. It was an absolutely fantastic game. So yeah, I like the top of the basketball table is really close. Like there's probably 15 or 20 teams that could win this all. And if you're going to bed early and missing out on what the Mountain West Conference is doing, you're missing out because they're playing some absolutely fantastic basketball out there in the Mountain West, and they are not getting enough credit for how good that league is.
Before we get to your plays tonight, if you had nothing in pocket, if you're just coming in, you got no bets on futures or anything, is there anybody you take a stab at their current prices?
Yeah, I would take a flyer. Yeah, I mean, I like longer odds stuff, and I'm gonna be more of a flyers guy. I think, like I said, I think Marquette plays really well. They have pretty good defense. They can light it up from three. They get to the foul line. They make their shots. I had my doubts about Shaka Smart after he left VCU and went to Texas. He seems to really have this Marquette team running well, though. I like them. I like Providence out of the Big East as well. And I really like what's going on down in Memphis. They are playing absolutely great ball down there.
Marquette 35-1 to win the whole thing. Creighton 35-1. Boy, that's really jumped. That was 65-70-1. I think even 75-1 a couple weeks ago. So some of these have really moved. Sometimes it's not just who you bet; it's when you bet them. It's finding the right time to buy low, things like that.
Yeah, you bought at the perfect time on Creighton after they got their big center back, got healthy, and then they went out and they beat Xavier and they beat a lot of other teams at the top of the Big East there. If that guy doesn't get mono, they're probably, I don't want to say undefeated, but they're probably a 3, maybe 4 loss team.
Yeah, absolutely. Memphis is 100 to 1. Would you sprinkle a few bucks? Like I remember North Carolina was like 100 to 1 going into the tournament, and they made it all the way to the championship game and had a huge lead at the half. Would you sprinkle a few bucks on Memphis? Do you think some of these times
Oh,
these
I
long shot?
definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think Memphis is like a perfect little lunch money play. You know, put 250 to $5 on that and just keep it in pocket. And then what if they make it to the Sweet 16 or the Elite Eight, you got a lot of hedge opportunities in front of you. Um, you know, that's the nice thing with futures is finding the spot to buy low, get the prices, and get them before the tournament. And if they make it 2 or 3 rounds, you can hedge out that ticket every round and still make profit.
yeah, absolutely. What plays do you have for tonight? You want to just give us a quick rundown before we get out of here?
Sure. I love Clemson going to BC. Clemson got a really gutsy, grinded out win in Florida State at Florida State. Clemson, they shoot around 79% from the free throw line, which is huge. One thing you'll hear me harp on is free throws. College kids have to make their free throws. Good teams make their free throws. Teams that cover and you don't want to sweat down the stretch, you better take the guys who make their free throws. So Clemson hits from an insane clip at the free throw stripe. I believe they're top 20 in the nation at hitting their free throws. Um, they also they're just better at all three levels in the paint, mid range, 3 point, then BC, and they wax the glass. I think the Orange can easily win by 2 possessions here. So I jumped in last night and took Clemson -3.5. I like Clemson at -4. I don't necessarily love giving up 4.5. That's the line still at on some books. I don't feel super secure in them winning that by more than 2 possessions.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Clemson's a good play. I didn't play it because it was 3.5. Then I woke up. I was thinking about playing it. Went to 4.5. So I just passed. I don't. Maybe I'll just wait for in game and see if I get back to a better number. I hate not getting the best of the number. Then if you lose by a point, it's hard to live with yourself.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I gave out an over the other day because like I stay up till 1 or 2 in the morning trying to grab these lines. Just because normally I'm watching a Mountain West game, it's just wrapping up. But yeah, I grabbed an over that came down 4 points, and I would have felt terrible if it didn't hit. And I shouted it out. I'm like, "Yo, in game, like these guys are all in foul trouble. Like this is gonna hit an over. Like take this reduced over in game." And then they ended up covering the over that came down 4 points anyway. So I was happy about that. But yeah, I would have felt like an asshole if I said, "Yo, grab this over now. I think there's 160 points in the game,"
Right.
and then we CLV lose it by 4 points.
Yeah, absolutely. I am on West Virginia tonight. I love this TCU team. I think if they're healthy, they're Final Four good. I think they're that good. They're just not healthy. The point guard's out. Miles, their leading scorer. Lampkin, their leading rebounder. And that's a tough. When you lose your best player like that, or one of your best players, it's tough to adjust, especially right away. West Virginia is going to pressure. So I think it's a good spot here for West Virginia. Do you have any thoughts on here? West Virginia getting 2.5 against TCU?
Yeah, I actually like that a lot. I thought about pulling the trigger on West Va at +3.5 last night before I went to bed. I chickened out. I woke up, saw it was still at 2.5. Ended up taking it. I read your write up. I think it's right on point. Yeah, losing Miles, he's the point guard. He runs the floor. It's going to be really difficult to beat West Va without your point guard and your leading rebounder. What West Va does really well is they get to the charity stripe. Third most in the country out of 363 teams, D1. So yeah, West Va gets to the line. They body you in the mid range. They have an elite mid range shot. They're good around the rim. They're good on the offensive glass. They don't make their free throws nearly as much as I'd like to back a road dog here, but Huggy Bear makes them stay until they hit 100 free throws. Huggy Bear is a very good coach. I trust that he's getting this team right. You can see that they've been hitting more free throws every week. So free throws is definitely something they've been working on. TCU slightly worse than them at the free throw line. They only convert as a team at about 71%. So we do have a little edge there. I don't think it's enough that alone, it would be a play. I just really like what West Va has going on. They're rolling. They just beat the brakes off this team in Morgantown. Now they got to go play them down another man in TCU. I think this is a perfect get-right spot for West Va here, who definitely have, Big 12 title aspirations and deep tournament run aspirations.
All right. Before we get out of here, the rest of your plays are VCU, Ball State, UNLV, and Nevada. Any particular one of those you want to talk about real quick before we bounce?
Yeah, I really like VCU, and you can still get VCU -3 on MGM last I checked before the show. Davidson is a bit of a mess right now. They are 10-11. They gave SLU a tough run for their money over the weekend. I had SLU in that one. Watched that whole game. VCU is red hot right now. They're 16-6. They have a lot of impressive road and neutral court wins. They dominated some early season tournaments, beating Colorado when they were healthy, beating Michigan. So VCU's definitely got talent. My thing is they're very bipolar at the free throw line. They're averaging 70%, but some nights they can shoot closer to 60. Some nights they can shoot closer to 80. I just don't think Davidson's very good. Davidson gave Richmond their first road win of the season. And I don't think that they can hang with VCU. VCU does tend to start out slow too, so I don't hate a live play on this. If VCU goes down early, because they are a second half team and tend to rally in the second half a lot. But yeah, VCU, anything -3 or better, I think VCU win this by a 3-pointer or more. I like a full possession here, though.
Yeah, A10's a mess this year. Usually that's a good 2-3 bid league with good teams. This year, I don't know if anybody besides the conference champions getting, because it's just not the league where we're used to seeing.
Yeah, it just doesn't have the depth.
Doesn't have the depth.
Real quick before we jump off, you mind if I run through Nevada too?
Go for it.
The Nevada line's gone, guys. So I'm sorry about that. I grabbed it last night at +4. I would not go anything worse than +3. I want a full possession. Nevada at home is unreal. Like, these guys, especially at home, their 3-point shooters crank it up. They can shoot the fucking lights out of the building. Their only home loss this year is to Kansas State, who, as you guys can see, is very, very good. SDSU is at the top of the Mountain West Conference at 17-4. SDSU is a very capable team, but Nevada at home, they're absolute dogs. I took the +4. You can't get that anymore. I love the over in this game. SDSU, Nevada. Nevada's home games tend to finish around the high 70s, low 80s, because they can absolutely shoot the lights out of that building. And I expect SDSU to match pace with them. I think this is a 1, maximum 2 possession game.
Burroaks, you're the best, man. Got to check out all Burroaks' work. He does an awesome job, as you can tell, covering college basketball. So appreciate it, man. It's fun to finally chat. It's college basketball season, so I'm sure we'll be doing more of this. I look forward to it, and appreciate you hopping on, man.
Yes, sir. Always a pleasure, Will.
All right. The bank is open. Gold Boys, Pickett Sports, Boom Fantasy. That'll wrap it up. We'll be back Thursday. Thank you guys for listening. Good luck with all your plays, and we'll see you Thursday.